Today I will show you how to make a gluten-free style orange chicken and gluten-free style chow mein. I will also show you how I make it like the regular style because it's a little bit hard when you have a family of 5 and you're trying to feed 2 gluten-free kids and everybody else isn't gluten-free. So just to, weigh out the cost of like food and ingredients, we will do it separately. So I will show you how I cater to my family's particular preferences. And today we'll be making gluten-free noodles. So I use this brand. And my kids have been enjoying this one the most. So let's cook this. I have a hot water pot going. I'm gonna dump all of this in. This is my hot pot of oil, and I have broccoli, sliced onion, and sliced celery. So we'll drop it all in. Once this softens, I will go to the next item. When it softens about this much, I had a small cabbage here. We will do the cabbage now. Okay, the cabbage, it looked like it was a lot, but once it shrinks down, it's about this much. Remember, I do cook for a family of 5, so my portions are much bigger in the videos than like your family size would be. So you just kind of have to eyeball the measurements because I'm not 100% sure the amount of cabbage, but I just grabbed something that's like as big as my hand, and that should be about enough. When it's soft like this, that's when you're gonna add the noodles and the soy sauce. The gluten-free pasta that I made it al dente, meaning it's not too like wet and not too dry. So when I add the steam from here and the soy sauce, it will get softened. But you don't want it to be like soggy. This is the soy sauce with ginger, garlic, brown sugar, and all that. So I'll list it below. This is the orange juice with brown sugar and all that. I'll list the ingredients below. So we're gonna start cooking in my hot pot. We will let it simmer until it gets thick. When you see a slight simmer, that's when you're gonna add the cornstarch slurry to thicken it up even more. So I like to stir it and slowly drop it like this. And then we'll turn the heat down a little bit to medium. So we'll constantly stir it until it gets very thick. So right now it's pretty watery still. So I do follow recipes from like the internet, whatever I could Google, and sometimes I have a hard time because I had to cook gluten-free, and I also like to eat high-protein meals, and I try to meet everybody halfway. This orange sauce is made with gluten-free soy sauce. Okay, you see how it's kind of bubbling up on medium heat and getting thick? When you see it bubbling up slowly like this, you know that it's ready. So I have my flour here, and I have my chicken separated. 2 of my kids have to eat gluten-free. I set aside about 15 ounces of chicken thigh for them. This one is for my big eaters, which is my husband and my teenage son. And then I have my chicken breast over here for me because I want to keep it high protein. So this is how I lay out stuff so I can remember which is which. And then I have regular all-purpose flour here, and I have cornstarch with a gluten-free flour, and then I have 3 eggs for the gluten-free part, and then I have 6 eggs for the regular flour that I'm gonna add for both the chicken breast and the chicken thighs. For the flour, I did season it a little bit with salt and a little bit with pepper. For the gluten-free flour, I like to add onion powder and garlic powder because I just feel like it brings out more flavor to it. So I do that for my kids. So when I cook a separate batch of gluten-free and something with like wheat flour ingredients, I try to, keep things separate. And I always start off with the gluten-free stuff because I am frying all of it in the same oil. I want to make sure that I have fresh oil and then start with the gluten-free ones first so that I know that it's not cross-contaminated. In the middle of mixing the gluten-free flour, it's a little hard to mix it with the fork because it's on the thicker side. So I use a whisk now. And you want to make sure that you get kind of like a creamy texture like this, like this. So because I am a busy mom, the fastest way to get things done is to clean while before going to the next step because it just makes life easier. All right, so same thing with the chicken breast here and the chicken thigh here. I'm gonna separate the batter. And then because I'm also watching how much calories that I'm eating, sometimes I would just do a light batter. So I don't want to do too much on the chicken breast, but I want to make sure that there's enough so that when I do the orange sauce, it will stick. Okay. I'm gonna start frying my gluten-free chicken thighs. So I want to make sure I mix it pretty well. Had this oil on here for a couple of minutes to get super hot, and I put it down to medium heat because sometimes when it's too hot, the batter will burn, and you don't want it to be burnt. So you do want to go kind of like step by step like this. Everything is dropped in, and you want to make sure you kind of separate some of the pieces that got stuck together. All right, when it looks golden brown like this, you want to take it out. If you like, you can also leave this to the side and then double fry it, but I'm not going to do that because I just feel like it's too time consuming. All right, the next one up is going to be the chicken breast, and we're still on medium heat. And again, same thing, drop it one by one. So this is lightly breaded. If you don't want them to stick together, after you drop them off, you want to make sure you use like chopsticks and separate all the ones that were still a little bit wet so that they can all individually get crispy. All right, while this is working, I'm gonna put my gluten-free chicken in a separate bowl. And then remember the sauce that we made? I'm gonna add some drizzle here while the chicken is still somewhat hot. So I think it's about this much, and then we're gonna stir it around so that they all could get evenly coated with the sauce. All right, so this is one of the rare times that I do eat fried food, but I do try to avoid it. A part of my dieting is not to eat too much like greasy foods and fried foods and all that, but once in a while, it is okay. And I think one of the reasons why I'm able to stick to eating chicken breast is because I find multiple ways to balance my diet without being too restrictive, and it doesn't seem like it's that bad. I mean, does this taste as great as the wheat flour chicken thigh? No, but it's still doable. I still incorporate my chicken breast just in a different manner. I'm able to stay on track technically, even though it's not, because I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not competing, and I'm not trying to compete to be on a show, so I don't need to be super restrictive. I do, stay mindful about the amount of calories and stuff that I put into my body, and I try to eat more vegetables, more lean meats, and as whole food as possible. I'm probably not the only mom out there that struggles to cook everybody's food because everybody has a different preference. So I do struggle, trying to make the meals, and I try to do it in a fast, efficient way and make it tasty for everybody. And then for me in particular, I do have two kids that eat gluten free. So I do have to be mindful of everybody's dietary restrictions here. And sometimes I find it hard. So I do make big batches so we could eat it for like 2, 3 days. So I'm not overkilling myself like, oh, I need to cook every single day, although it still feels like I cook every single day. But yeah, that's how I manage the flow of the household. Yeah, cooking for a family of five is like clockwork. Over time, you know what fits best for your schedule and what works for you and what doesn't work. So same thing again, if you want to be faster, just grab a handful and drop it one by one. So because this is so much bigger to cook, I'm gonna do it in like batches. While this is working, I'm gonna work on my chicken breast. So I try to, because the sauce is pretty sweet with tons of sugar. I try to limit my portion, so I just kind of do like a drizzle and maybe another half, and that's about it. So yeah, my life as a mom, I had to be strategic about my schedule and my time. So I've been here in the kitchen cooking since 9 in the morning about, and then it's already 12:30, and I'm still frying the last batch. So yeah, sometimes it gets very tiring, and then after this, I don't even want to do anything, but I still got a lot of stuff to do. So that's where I'm at. And put the regular, the gluten version of the orange fried chicken in a bigger bowl because I realized that it's kind of a lot. So remember, I don't want to cross-contaminate. I'm going to move this far away. And then the remaining sauce I have here, I'm going to dump it in there. But you want to drizzle it so that it could evenly distribute on all the chicken. I'm going to sprinkle some sesame seeds. But yeah, doesn't this look delicious? So look at how big these portions are. I do cook for a family of five, and this is my gluten-free one. This is my high-protein chicken breast one, and this is my regular gluten fried chicken one. And here's my gluten-free chow mein. So this should feed us for about 2 days. All right, for me, because this is basically my plate, I actually eat half of the chicken about. This is what my high protein, lean chicken breast, orange chicken, and gluten free chow mein looks like. Do I want to say that this is super delicious? No, it's not. I rather much wish I could eat the regular version. But if you have dietary goals, this is another alternative to make it. So sometimes I spend a lot of time trying to think of how should I incorporate and cook it all at once and meet all of my other family's dietary restrictions or their dietary preference. So this is how I do things, and this is working for us. So that's what that is.